In my last video, I showed you how to use the Marines as a rushing unit. Now I'm going to show you how to use Marines as a turtle unit. For people who don't know, turtling is surviving a rush from your opponent and sort of counter-rushing. But your units are going to be teched out and a lot more powerful than anything they can produce in that time. So, obviously you want to use the Warthog as its original function to annoy your enemy. This will slow down their rush and give you more time to tech out your units and increase the probability of survival and increase your defenses to make sure that you survive that rush. I suggest that you create a supply pad, a barracks, first a barracks, then a supply pad, then a reactor, because you will be upgrading units. That's important for the strategy.
Anytime.
So gather resources with that Warthog of yours and annoy your enemy, and spy on them if you feel it necessary. You know that you should, if you do spy on them and you find that they are not going to rush, that they are building up their economy, they're booming, say, then you should not use the turtle method and do not use the strategy. And that's why scouting is so important. I'm going to create a unit of Marines just to illustrate
reactor complete.
The upgrades
Rolling out.
that the Marines receive and how they benefit combat and other things. So pretty soon here I'm going to buy New Blood, which is the first upgrade for the Marines. Oh, and keep your units close to your base so your turrets have maximum effectiveness. Otherwise, your opponents will lure them out and they won't be able to do much.
Research.
So now you have New Blood, which increases the amount of soldiers in your squad by 1, which increases your health by that same unit and increases your damage output, which is very useful. So still use your Warthog to collect resources, and you should create another supply pad. It's probably a good idea. So Marines and Spartans go hand in hand with this strategy. Marines are good against most things. They're the best infantry against other infantry, except for the flamethrower, but you want your units to be a lot more versatile than that. So Marine is the next best choice. And they're great against buildings, and they're great against air units. However, they're terrible against vehicles, normal vehicles. So that's why you have a Spartan, because of its jack ability. I'll get into that later, but it makes a perfect combo with your units in terms of defending against a vehicle rush. And believe me, your acquired vehicle will be much more powerful. So the RPG ability increases your damage to vehicles and buildings, which is incredibly helpful and will be used quite a bit later on. Basically making your Marines building killers, which you will be using much later in the game, but is still very important.
Feeling fine.
So your medics are also very important. Now this is the rush that I was talking about. You have to defend against this kind of rush. Make sure, if they do rush with their Prophet, make sure you destroy the Prophet first. A Mac Blast is definitely a powerful tool in this fight, as you can see. And you will be able to drop the Prophet, I almost guarantee you, which is the important part. You do need to drop the Prophet. Otherwise you will have a stream of enemies, as you see here, and you won't be able to handle them sufficiently. Once he's done, he also won't be able to use his destructive beam ability. Now your forces probably will wipe here. If they don't, it's great. You'll be able to counter-rush. But if they do, it's fine, because you built these 4 turrets, which will lock up your enemies or cause them to retreat. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. They'll destroy a turret, 250 resources, not a big deal, but they will retreat and allow you to create the next, the counter. Well, actually, if you lose, you won't be able to create a counter force. You'll have to wait for them to attack you again to create another counter rush. And unfortunately, that is just how it works. So you will have to create your force again, but by now you have enough resources to do that. And here we are. That's our massive force, and you'll have to reconstruct that. And now they're rushing again. So now that our force is a lot more powerful, we'll be able to take them down more efficiently. And as you can see, just by seeing your force, they're already retreating.
Got it.
Now, what happened here is they actually lured me out of my turret range. It's a very smart move. Unfortunately, I fell for it. But do not be tricked by this. As you can see, my turrets are no longer helping, and they're anti-infantry. This is a huge problem. And as you see, I'm going to figure it out and come back and have their infantry be mowed down by my anti-infantry turrets. So I purchased the medic here, which will help in out-of-combat regen, which will make your units last longer, and have you spend less resources, and get your way closer to ODST, which is your eventual goal. Yeah, very effective units here. As you can see, this combo very, very well complements each other. It's important to have your Spartans in the back of the unit, so that they are not targeted and that your Marines, while it's just expensive and easily dispensable, are killed first. Now that you have medic, your Marines will heal themselves, which is great. And now, once you've turtled long enough, you'll be able to get ODST, and ODST turns your Marines into the ultimate turtle squad. As you can see here, I'll soon, very soon, be attacked. But the beautiful thing about the ODST squad, the beautiful thing about ODSTs is you can drop them at any time, and they're an instant spawn. You don't have to wait for them to be created. They just spawn. So as you can see, I'm going to panic because this is a huge force, and I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have ODSTs. So I drop all of these ODSTs at once, and that's 10 more Marine units. All of a sudden, much more effective. It refreshes all the way to 10. 10 is the best. It's basically a rush that wasn't there before, and it's very effective. Unfortunately for me, these units will destroy my reactor. Again, it's very important to destroy the Prophet, otherwise they will have an endless amount of, an endless stream of units, which is very bad. They will destroy my reactor here, which means I'll have to build it later to use the ODST ability again. Fortunately for them, I don't need it at this point because my units are powerful enough to deal with it.
I'll get it. I'm on it. I'll get it. I see it.
I could have had my Spartans hijack those vehicles, but since they're Banshees and they're very low health, I just opted to get them destroyed. If you run into a Wraith, I do suggest you take it. Anything that has a lot of health so that your Spartan will last the longest. Now that that's done, I'm gonna counterattack now. So I will counterattack them and rush their base. Really, ODSTs are great for this. They destroy buildings now very quickly, and will be able to take over any vehicle that they do pump out, and are great anti-infantry units anyway. You're in for the kill. Aim for the center building, the main base, and ignore opinions. I was talking about earlier Spartans taking over vehicles. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They've lost a vehicle, and I've gained a vehicle, and it's way more powerful than they would have had. You destroy them, and that's how you use Marines effectively.